Hi everybody, this is Vinicius from Bopping the Changes. Bopping the Changes is a series of lessons designed to help you master the bebop language. In this first episode, we'll be looking at some of Barry Harris's scales of chords. We will learn how to creatively integrate them to our comping vocabulary while addressing two very specific movements, namely a minor and a major to 5. We'll be using the changes of There Will Never Be Another You as example. Barry Harris was one of the great masters of the bebop language. Composer, performer, educator, he revolutionized my way of understanding this music. Throughout his career, he developed a very unique way of explaining this music. When it comes to Barry Harris and comping, the first thing that comes to mind is his scales of chords. And they're namely 4. The major 6 diminished, the minor 6 diminished, the dominant 7th diminished, and the dominant 7th flat 5 diminished scales of chords. The E flat 6 diminished scale of chords is made of basically two distinct harmonies, namely an E flat 6 and its inversions, and an F diminished and its inversions. Now, if we alternate between those voicings of E flat 6 and F diminished, we get this beautiful tension and release relationship that is very particular to this style of comping. Now, if we look at the first chord of There Will Never Be Another You, we will see that it's an E flat major 7th. Now, we bebop players that understand this music through Barry's concepts, we just like to call this chord an E flat 6 with a note borrowed from the diminished. Now, wait a second, can you just explain it better? Yeah, it's pretty easy. You just take one voicing of E flat 6, you go to the closest voicing of F diminished, and you just play as many notes as you would like from F diminished on top of E flat. This creates this beautiful tension that you can release back to a voicing of E flat 6. And this can be done in different registers, in different voicings, in different regions of the instrument, as for instance, Now, when you do that, you add color, you add motion to your comping so that the soloist or the singer that you're comping feels inspired by what you're playing. Now, the minor 6 diminished scale of chords consists basically of two distinct harmonies, a minor 6 and a diminished. Let's take C as a root in this case. The C minor 6 diminished scale of chords consists of a C minor 6 and its inversions, and a D diminished and its inversions. And just as you did with the major 6 diminished scale of chords, you can borrow notes also in the minor 6 diminished scale of chords. Now imagine you're comping someone and you come up with one idea such as this while comping. Now by doing this, you are inspiring the person you're comping. You are coming up with melodic, with motivic, with rhythmic ideas. And not only that, by doing this, you are trying to make your comping more melodic. You're trying to create melodies with your comping, therefore being more musical and serving the music as best as you can. This first example addresses the first 6 measures of There Will Never Be Another You. The changes are E flat major 7th, D minor 7 flat 5 or D half diminished, G7, and C minor. Now this particular movement that happens between D minor 7 flat 5, G7, and C minor is what we call a minor 2/5. Now you will learn from this example how to apply the concept of borrowing within the scales of chords. This will help you navigate through the changes in a more coherent and musical way. And here's another example in the same set of changes. This next example addresses the following changes of There Will Never Be Another You, namely B flat minor 7th, E flat 7th, A flat 6, A flat minor 6, and E flat 6. Let's have a look at B flat minor 7th. There is a connection between a major 6 diminished scale of chords and a minor 7th chord. If we take the major 6 diminished scale of chords, there is a minor third up the root of the minor 7th chord that we need to address. We get to different voicings and colorful voicings and motions that will replace a static voicing of a chord with a series of different motions, polyphonies, borrowings that we can play on top of. So for instance, let's hear how it goes. If we take D flat 6 and we walk the scale of chords down to the voicing that has the 6th on the bass, we get to this B flat minor 7th voicing that most of you might know, or this one for instance. But with all those other voicings that come from the D flat 6 scale of chords, we can address B flat minor 7th in a much richer way. taking a look at this example, you will enrichen your comping vocabulary with all those gestures that come from Barry Harris' Scales of Chords. And yet another example on the same set of changes. I'd like to thank you all for watching Bopping the Changes. If you're enjoying the content that I'm sharing with you, don't forget to like it, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and hit the notifications button for more on jazz performance and education.